Welcome to This Just In, the show bringing you the latest advancements in healthcare, strategy, innovation, and public policy. And now, for the fastest voice in healthcare, here's your host, Justin Barnes.
Thank you for tuning in, and welcome to This Just In. I'm your host, Justin Barnes. In these segments, I'll bring you the latest advancements in healthcare, strategy, innovation, and public policy. As always, we're broadcasting from the This Just In studios on the Business Radio X network, as well as the Healthcare Now radio network. For this episode, my 219th episode, with a very special first-time guest and longtime friend, JoAnn Klinedinst from the HIMSS organization. Welcome to the show, JoAnn.
Thank you so much, Justin. It's great to be here.
It's great to have you here. So where are you calling in from today?
I am calling in from the suburbs of Philadelphia in the great state of Pennsylvania.
I love it. Well, I'm so happy you could join us and really kind of give us some great previews of what's to come later this year. And before we dive into all of that with our industry, so where did you grow up? I mean, I've known you for, I'm probably close to 15 years or so now personally, but where did you grow up for my audience and where'd you go to college, all that good stuff?
Sure. I grew up in central Pennsylvania. So Pennsylvania is known to have Philadelphia on the east and Pittsburgh on the west, and then there's cornfields in the middle. So I grew up 50 miles north of Harrisburg in a town called Sunbury, Pennsylvania. I started working at Geisinger Medical Center in Danville, Pennsylvania. And from there, I was married and then moved to the Philadelphia area and have been here ever since.
Fantastic. Yeah, I actually have a very close family that's in New Columbia, Pennsylvania. Is that far from where you were?
No, that's very close to where we were, yes. Mm-hmm.
I thought, yeah. Very cool. So how'd you get a start in healthcare or health IT?
Sure. So I was a student at Westchester University in Westchester, Pennsylvania, and the personal computer was just being released. And I had an opportunity to work with one of my business professors because I was a business major. So I learned word processing, spreadsheet, and database applications. Mm-hmm. And from there, I was hired as a summer temp at Shared Medical Systems in Malvern, Pennsylvania, which is now known as Siemens. Yeah. So I had a really, really good grounding of the technology and actually was able to work and help administrative staff really update their workloads and apply technology to the work that really had never been done before. So I went on to graduate. I earned a Bachelor of Science in Business Management and then was hired by Doylestown Hospital in Doylestown, Pennsylvania. And I was hired in the role, once again, this time to help administrative staff really transform their processes. So I believe there were 20 PCs in the entire organization at the time. So I just really made a career out of, helping staff really adapt to technology. And it was from that point that I was in the information technology department, and the organization was embarking on a major system implementation. And I was the most technical in the department, so I began writing reports and doing scripts and things of that nature from a healthcare IT perspective. And the rest is pretty much history. I continued to work. I did attend an MBA class at St. Joseph's University in Philadelphia, but then I started raising my family and I put that education on hold. Fast forward my time with HIMSS, I completed a graduate degree in a master's of adult education, and I'm still involved in health information and technology, but from another aspect.
Sure. So how did you get involved with HIMSS?
Well, I actually just celebrated my 30th year as a life fellow with HIMSS.
Wow.
And I mean, just like that, 30 years has gone by.
Mm-hmm.
But HIMSS was my professional society while at Doylestown Hospital. And I really leveraged the education and the networking that I received. So this upcoming conference, HIMSS21 Global Conference and Exhibition, will be my 27th conference consecutively that I have attended. And it just, I got involved. Not only was I a member, but I also was a volunteer. And the differentiator was I was an engaged member who volunteered.
Sure.
So I served on various committees. I worked with lots of folks and really grew and nurtured my career. And incidentally, one of those folks on the HIMSS staff now reports to me that I worked with some 15 or 17 years ago. So pretty interesting.
I love it, and I couldn't agree more with everything you said just regarding HIMSS and some of the professional development. Actually, I think this would be my 22nd year, not in a row. I think I had 2 years where I did not go in the early 2000s, but other than that, I've been at every single HIMSS for this would be my 22nd HIMSS. So
fabulous. Well, thank you for that. Thank you for your support.
You got it. Oh, there's not a single better engagement in healthcare and healthcare technology than HIMSS as a central nervous system to our industry. So I have a lot of great things I've said on even previous shows where, my strong affinity for HIMSS. I wouldn't be where I am today in healthcare and health IT and digital health if it wasn't for HIMSS. All the professional development that I went through. I'm a HIMSS fellow. I have been for almost 10 years now. And it's, been tremendous for my career. It's just been like you're the vice president of professional development, but the professional development that I personally received and just not only personal education, but also collaboration with the industry. So you learn directly from HIMSS, but you also learn from all your peers and, friends at HIMSS and all those work groups and all those committees and so forth and the boards that are under the HIMSS umbrella and the HIMSS family. They are phenomenal for learning. And if you truly take that in, you can truly thrive. And so, I'm a strong advocate for HIMSS. And very excited to talk about HIMSS21 Global Conference because it's coming up soon, and I know there's a lot of exciting things to jump into there. So thank you for that.
Sure.
So before we dive into some of your role specifically around professional development, what do you like about working in healthcare at a broader level, and why people who aren't in healthcare today that may be hearing our voice, and because 80% of my listeners are from healthcare, but 20% are not. They're just business people or business executives. And everybody's looking, to advance their world in many ways. But why do you like working in healthcare?
I really enjoy healthcare for many reasons. It's a great industry. And I joined the healthcare industry when it wasn't cool to be in a healthcare industry. And I recall one person saying to me, you know what, you can make a lot more money over here in this industry over here instead of healthcare. But there was always a sense of family. In a small community hospital such as Doylestown, it was about 200 beds. There were, upwards of 60 departments, and working in IT, you got to know people and you got to connect with people. And whether I'm in a hospital setting or in my role at HIMSS, I know whatever I do will in some way positively affect the care that's delivered at the patient bedside. And that is just so incredibly rewarding that even myself as a patient or my family members as a patient, we can all be advocates because of what I've learned at HIMSS and what I continue to learn at HIMSS. So it's this sense of passion, not being a clinician, but supporting the clinicians who just do incredible work, who truly are healthcare heroes, even before this pandemic hit. And I will say I'm a mommy, and those babies are now 28 and 26, but I certainly did learn a lot. And I just, I'm forever ingrained in healthcare, and HIMSS is my professional society that just nurtures and continues to grow my career.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. I completely agree. I mean, HIMSS has been my outlet. It's my single source for education, really at a holistic, standpoint for the industry. Again, for healthcare, health IT, digital health. You can get anything you want. One thing I have to say about HIMSS is everything you want HIMSS to be, it can be. There's nothing that HIMSS cannot give you that you're going to seek. So if you seek it, there will be an answer. There will be a solution. There will be collaborators. There will be, great experts to turn to. That's one thing I've found over the past 25 years of engaging with HIMSS, is that anything that I need, any problem I'm trying to solve, I can go to HIMSS. If it's not HIMSS actual organization, there's a collaboration with HIMSS, or there's an executive within my peer group within the HIMSS organization, or HIMSS, within the family of HIMSS. So there's just so much opportunity. And I was very fortunate to be one of the founders of the EHR Association, and HIMSS took that under its wing in the very early days, back in 2005, 2006. And that was a phenomenal opportunity for us to collaborate at another level. And so that just shows the openness of how HIMSS thinks and how HIMSS operates. Is if they don't have it, they will create it for the betterment of the industry, and it betters all of us as individuals. So I love HIMSS in that regard. And for those just tuning in, we're speaking with JoAnn Klinedinst, Vice President of Professional Development at HIMSS. So let's dive into the professional development component. Why is that something that all professionals in health should be thinking about?
Great question. One's career really is nurtured through the work that a professional society does. So not only HIMSS, but professional organizations, and there's hundreds and thousands of them. Mm-hmm. And the importance of that and engaging with an organization such as HIMSS is our industry changes so rapidly.
Yes.
It's just absolutely incredible to me to the amount of information, the speed with which technology changes, and then add a pandemic on top of that.
Right.
And there's just always something to learn about. There's always something to learn from someone else, and there's always something that you can teach others. So my unofficial hashtag is #ProfDev for life, or professional development for life, because this is just an ever evolving, ever changing industry. And it's exciting, it's exhilarating, it's exhausting, it's global, and it's dynamic. So there's the importance of really having a professional responsibility to really be on top of your game and to understand the latest developments and technologies, or at least know where to go to find answers to questions. And whether it's engagement within a virtual environment or an in-person environment, there's just always something to learn.
Yeah, ironically, just serendipitously, I sent a note out. I sent on the board of a company, a fast-growing digital health company, and I literally, put a challenge out to the entire leadership team to say, what do you do on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis to hone your craft? Exactly what you're talking about is around professional development, because it's, and I challenging them in a positive way, because they're all great at what they do, but we all can get better. We all need to get better every single day. We owe it to our companies. We also owe it to our families. We're providers for our families, and we need to give them the very best. And that means giving our very best at work as people who build companies and serve. So it's ironic. That was the exact same day that I literally sent that note out about 2 hours ago, and now I'm on the phone with the Vice President of Professional Development for HIMSS. So
I love it. And let me also say, Justin, that one is just never too young or never too old to learn. And I thought I earned my last professional certification, but no, I just recently earned a certified professional in talent development, because that's what I do from a professional development perspective. And tonight I start a certificate class on instructional design. So I thrive on learning, and healthcare really allows you to find that niche that you can excel in. And the opportunities are just unlimited. They're boundless, and it's just such an exciting time to be in healthcare.
I could not agree more. So how can one demonstrate their commitment to professional development goals? What can they do?
Wow. So continuing professional development happens in so many places. It can happen from a volunteer perspective. It can happen by reading journals. It can happen by going to a conference. The extension of all of those can also be demonstrated through earning a professional certification, earning a certificate of completion. All of these things relate to continuing professional development. And it's even reading a journal article and taking a test to ensure that the knowledge has been transferred to you. But one of my favorite ways of demonstrating knowledge is through earning a professional certification. And you do that, not only do you have to apply and document most of the times what you've done, you need to prepare, and you need to be diligent, and you need to have a plan, and you need to have structure. So these are all things that really encompass a healthcare information and technology professional. And then once you apply, you prepare, you strategize on how you're going to sit for an exam, and then the day comes, you sit for the exam, and you either pass or you fail. And I've failed a fair number of exams, and then I got right back in.
That's right.
I continued to study, and I went back and I passed. And that is the tenacity that I show, and so many of my colleagues, both in HIMSS and outside of HIMSS, show as well. And by earning that professional certification, then you need to maintain that professional certification. So you're continuing to learn. Mm-hmm. And oh, by the way, when you maintain that credential, you're finding new things. I just recertified for my PMP credential, and I was listening to a LinkedIn session with Chris Croft, who approached network diagramming in a very fun way. And he approached it as preparing for his daughter's wedding. And why would you pick the venue when you don't know what your budget is? So great applicability, and that's why I like professional certifications and feel that they really add to one's professional competency.
I love it. That's excellent. So let me ask you a question specifically on professional education and development. So is there an area that we can go within the HIMSS website? I don't mean to put you on the spot for a URL, but you got me thinking here just around, is there an area we can go to see all the different classes? Because I think of different vice presidents that I have in the company, and even, C-suite executives. I would like them to take in some of these individual courses. How do I access that?
Yeah, we have a resources page, and it's a fabulous resource in and of itself, because you have webinars that are occurring not only within the HIMSS or the HIMSS corporate world, if you will, but our chapters are connected. There's a lot of great content going on with our chapters domestically and our communities globally. There's also a lot of really good thought leadership, and that is my go-to dashboard, if you will, at the moment. So we have the resources as far as virtual conferences that are occurring. We also have a bookstore. We have a real long time collaboration with Taylor and Francis. And my senior editor, we joke, because my speakers become her authors and her authors become my speakers.
Exactly.
And that certainly is true in many cases. So the HIMSS.org resource page is where you want to go for that information.
Love it. So in the final few minutes of the show, I'd love to dive into the global annual conference coming up. So can you tell us a little bit more about, some of what's going to be hot out there, or some of the topics and some of what you're excited for?
Sure. I get this question asked a lot. JoAnn, what are your favorite sessions? And I will tell you, it is so difficult for me to pick because we have so much really good content. And I work along with our hundreds of volunteers in curating that content. Yes. And the topics that we have this year, we have digital health transformation leadership. Oh my goodness, so much good content along there. We have pandemic response, as you can imagine, certainly being a new topic. We also have population health, public health, and social determinants of health. Really delivering care and examining how to do so for the underserved and the disadvantaged. We have topics that you would expect to see, data and analytics and change management, but also cyber. Oh my goodness, cyber information security and privacy. We have one heck of a lineup as far as that topic is concerned. But even the topics at the high level, the peer-reviewed nature of a HIMSS general conference education and pre-conference education, where we do offer continuing education credits and lots of it. Our sessions are peer-reviewed to ensure that they are structured appropriately, that the title supports a summary description, those two aspects support the learning objectives, and those three aspects support the session details. These things all work in tandem, and some do it really well, are able to structure a proposal really well, and others are not able to do it, to structure a proposal so well. But at the end of the day, I like to personally quote Edward Tufte, who says, content is king. Yes. And it truly is, because we strive for excellence. I demand excellence of myself, my staff, my team, my volunteers, and we may not always get it right, but we certainly try, so that when you go to listen to a session where there's a topic on applied artificial intelligence and machine learning, you can be assured that we've done our best to present to you a compelling session.
Yep, I agree. I think one of your last speakers on that was John Holompa, and he was just on my show.
Yes, he sure is. Yes, he is.
I love it. That's great. What are some? Can you mention some of those speakers that you have for 21?
Well, I will tell you, there's about 350 of them at the moment, and 350. Let's see. Yep, John Holompa, he's one of them.
Beautiful.
We also have Michael Rogers, the former NSA director in the Obama administration. Yeah. We have just dozens and dozens of speakers that I can name organizations. We have some representatives from Geisinger. We have representatives from the VA. And if you could visually see my office, you'd see I have a huge matrix where I stand and study not only the topics and the speakers, but to ensure that we don't have conflicts with the content that we do present, because as you all know, governance is a topic that can show up in health information exchange, or it can show up in patient engagement and consumer satisfaction.
Yes. Very, very true. So in our closing 40 seconds or so, what would you say you're most excited about for the global conference, or that we should be the most excited about?
Should be the most excited to know that there's a whole village in the HIMSS collective staff that are working behind the scenes to create a conference that is safe, and not only is safe, but will protect your health the best that we possibly can do. Couple that with our social distancing items that we're putting in place and our guidelines, all these things, so you can feel safe coming to a HIMSS21 global conference. And in doing so, you have an opportunity to change the world is in whatever manner that you would like to, with the incredible content that you'll find in an education session, in an exhibition floor session, as well as in networking. This is the place to be, and we can't wait to welcome you to HIMSS21.
I love it, JoAnn. That's fantastic. And I think just to give it a plug, it's going to be August 8th through the 12th timeframe in Las Vegas. Is that correct?
August 9th through the 13th.
Okay, excellent.
1 day off, yes.
I think, yes, perfect. Well, JoAnn, thank you so much for joining us. This was a great show. I forgot how amazing you are, and the content that you cover is so spot on for our industry, not only for our industry, but also us personally. So thank you for joining us today.
And Justin, thank you as well for this opportunity.
You got it. And I know I will see you in Las Vegas in August. So
you bet.
Thank you. And thank you to everyone for joining us today. Please tune in weekdays at 2:30 p.m. Eastern and 11:30 a.m. Pacific. As always, you can track me on Twitter at HIT Advisor and use the hashtag ThisJustinRadio so we can respond to your comments from the show. If you missed any of this episode or want to hear more, all of my shows are always posted on Apple iTunes, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, Google Play, and TuneIn. Also, you can check out some of the updates we just put on justinbarnes.com. Thanks, everyone, and stay safe.